welcome to episode 164 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren, at the beach house?
I am the co-host from Canada. I'm doing good. It's been a busy week at work, and I'm off tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday because of things. So I got a nice 5-day weekend coming up. So that's
nice. Good. Yeah. Well, that is a good way to top it off. So talking about Apple and iOS here, but we're not alone here. We have a returning guest here, Mr. Holden DePardo. How are you doing, Holden?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, no, glad to be here. Unfortunately, Brian DePardo, your pop, was not under the weather, so he couldn't make it. So hopefully we'll be able to have him back next time. Feel better, Brian. We'll miss you here. But we got lots to talk about. We're just kind of leading into the busy time of year for Apple because we know there's going to be lots of announcements coming very soon. But let's dig into some news here. We got a fair amount of it. So the first story I got here is some Mac rumors. T-Mobile, of course, they've been in the news more for reasons not for this reason, but with the cyber problems they've had. But T-Mobile is offering a free year of Apple TV Plus to select customers starting this week. This offer is for new and existing Magenta Max customers who'll be able to get 12 months of Apple TV Plus for free. That's in the United States, and they have a promotional page with further details. The offer can even be redeemed by users who already are paying for it. Once you redeem the offer, your paid TV subscription will pause, and your free one will start after that, and you get 12 months. It does only include Magenta and Magenta Max plans, which of course that's the whole intent. What T-Mobile's trying to do is get people to sign up for their newer plans. I'm on the T-Mobile One plan. I get a great rate, and I'm not changing that, so I will not qualify for this. So you have the Mac, so you should be jumping on this, Warren. What do you think?
You can't, because if you're paying for Apple One, then you're bundled, and there's no thing for it.
Mm-hmm. I thought they would let you unbundle it and pay just that piece.
If you saw that, then I'll look at that. But yeah, the first time I read it, I thought that you would just get the $5.90. What is it, $5.99 per month? But how do you unbundle? You would have to unbundle with Apple, or just tell them that you pay for it,
or does T-Mobile give a $5 credit every month? That I don't know.
I doubt that. And the other question is, if I guess they're still doing Netflix too, right? So they'll give you, if you get T-Mobile on this plan, you get free Netflix and free Apple TV. So that's not a bad deal. That's worth giving my security info to the world. And actually, I say that jokingly, but it really is. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but everything that leaked,
we talked about
last week. Out there. It's already out there. So I mean, who cares? But whatever.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
Are you an Apple TV Plus subscriber, Holden?
An Apple One, so I have the same question that Warren does. But I don't have T-Mobile anymore, though, so I can't get into this. But PlayStation, they offer 6 months for free via PlayStation Plus, but not if you have Apple One. So maybe I could do something there as well. I don't know. Apple One's still a great deal, so I don't really mind if I can't get into the PlayStation Plus or T-Mobile deal. Moore and I are both on the, I don't know if you are as well, the Premier plan, the $30 and covers the whole gamut. I'm happy with it. I'm even sharing with family. I'm sharing with family too, and they're happy. So they get to take advantage of my 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. So
iCloud storage space itself. I was just going to say the iCloud storage itself is, I think, worth the price for the most part.
Totally. If you have the opportunity, take advantage of this. It's definitely going to be a good deal for you.
I do wonder how many people have gotten Apple TV Plus for free since the very beginning without having to pay anything, because there's been more free trials and more free offers for Apple TV Plus than any service I can think of.
Now, Apple stopped it for a while, and then I think Best Buy had something too, where you could get 6 months just for walking in or something, or you didn't even buy anything.
I mean, I was setting up an iPad device that we've had for a while for work, and it has it right in there. You got a free year of one Apple TV Plus because it was a new device at the time. So I guess you could let it sit, and then maybe sooner or later you can say, yeah, maybe I should take advantage of that. But it obviously has to be on that device, and your account has to be signed into that device in order to take advantage of it. So. The next story here is Apple shares on Mac Rumors. Apple shares the Morning Show Season 2 trailer. Apple has today shared a trailer for the second season of the Morning Show, highlighting the impending return of the award-winning Apple original drama series, which, of course, this was one of the very first ones before Ted Lasso. So it's going to have only 10 episodes again. We'll continue to star Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and Steve Carell will be part of it, and a lot of the others that are coming back from last year. So they're picking up what events of what happened in season 1. Of course, they had to adjust accordingly because of the COVID. They had to make it more realistic, the fact that COVID's happening, because when they were recording it, it was not. So I enjoyed the show. I watched the trailer and I thought it'll be fun to watch. I mean, I liked it. Did you watch the show at all, Holden?
Oh yeah, I loved season 1 a lot.
Me too.
It's a really good example of a show tackling a very difficult topic, but really sticking the landing and handling it in a very nuanced way. And they seem to be continuing that in the season 2 trailer, talking about different issues that are very delicate. But I'm like, if they can handle Me Too as well as they did, I have no doubt they can handle any of these other big, social topics very well too. So I'm very excited for this season.
Yeah, the guy who's running the network, boy, he's something. He's something.
Yeah.
Did you watch the show, Warren?
Yeah, yeah. This is how I convinced my wife to get Apple TV the first time around.
Oh, she liked it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot of people got dragged into Apple TV with that show.
Yep.
Which is good. Yeah, I liked it. It went well. Sorry about that. Can you hear that?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Good, yeah.
There's an alert coming up. Yeah, no, it's good. I didn't see the trailer, but I'm going to watch the show for sure.
Yep. It is premiering on September 17th, which is next month as we record this. So good, something else to look forward to. Then we'll have Ted Lasso and the Morning Show to watch for the next few weeks in tandem. So we'll have 2 shows to watch. And then, of course, all the other TV shows are coming out pretty soon here. And I also saw that Spider-Man trailer that was on the news today, saying that for 24 hours, 335 million people saw that trailer for the new Spider-Man movie. So I'm just thinking of that as I'm thinking of a trailer here. So I don't think it's got that many views, but I think the Morning Show's got some good following. So that was good stuff here. Next story. This was actually, I just absolutely love this. This was Mac Rumors last week's Ted Lasso. There was this was Ryan Reynolds and Ron McElhenney demand Ted Lasso biscuits in a satirical letter addressed to Apple TV Plus. In the latest episode of Ted Lasso, Jeremy Swift's character Higgins briefly poked fun at actor Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's purchase of Welsh soccer, should be football, club Wrexham AFC last year. And then Reynolds and McElhenney turned around and responded over the weekend by tweeting a letter that sarcastically threatened legal action against Apple TV over the joke. So they had a really good fun time, and it's in the article here. It shows the letter that Ryan Reynolds had put out, but they had a lot of fun with this. It was going back and forth, but it was what this did was it created more people knowing about their team, as well as even more about Ted Lasso. What do you think, Holden?
I just love Ted Lasso. I think involving Ted Lasso is fantastic.
You and me both.
It's the perfect show for nowadays. It's so positive and charming, but also bearable. Like, it could have been too hokey and unwatchable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It walks that line perfectly. I adore that show. I absolutely adore
smile every time I watch it. I watch each episode at least twice each week, just because I can't wait to watch it at Friday. But then the wife wants to watch it too, and oh, honey, I didn't watch it yet, and just we watch it again, and I don't mind seeing it because I get to remember what else was talked about. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, no, it's good. I like Ted Lasso. We talked about it.
Yeah.
And I do actually. I'm gonna probably rewatch season 2 because I watch it with my wife, but we tend to like talk during it, which we discuss it, which is funny and we laugh. But you miss a lot. There's a lot of like under the breath jokes that you kind of miss, and the English accent sometimes is not the easiest to understand with some of the characters. So I definitely,
especially Keely.
Keely and the grounds boy coach who the new guy Nate. Nate's a little tough to hear too.
But he almost mumbles.
He mumbles in British, and I lived in London too, so I kind of know a little bit, but it's been a while. But yes, so it's hard to hear. So I'm going to rewatch it, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get my wife to watch the new one. So.
And are we all caught up with it? We're all caught up fully.
Yeah, we're all caught up.
Okay. No spoilers.
Listeners may not be.
Yes, no spoiler, really.
No spoilers, because some people may not be.
Yeah, spoiler for like 2 seconds. Stop listening for 2 seconds. This whole Rebecca Ted thing that's kind of being teased up right now. I love it. I can't wait to see where that goes. I'm really excited about that.
Banter.
Banter. Yeah.
Well, is it going to lead to more than that? Is what we're wondering. So,
if you want to hear spoilers, our friend Kelly Gamont is on the show once, a couple episodes at a time. They do a full recap of the show called "A Football Life on the Incomparable." If you want to check that out, it's a great podcast, and they get some different guests each week to go through the an hour-long, in-depth look at each episode. So check that out.
Longer than the national episode. There you go.
Exactly. And another story, Mac rumors. This week, it was on the 24th of August. Today this marked 10 years since Tim Cook became Apple's CEO. Tim Cook took over Apple at a turbulent time when Steve Jobs was battling pancreatic cancer, and the company's future seemed uncertain. Questions were widespread after Tim Cook took over, including whether Cook could manage in the footsteps of Jobs or create a new vision of the future of Apple. Well, without having gone more, you can go further in this. Apple is not going to change. That's what he originally said. And look where we are now, 10 years later. I think Apple is doing mighty fine. Thank you. The first device that was launched by Tim when Tim Cook was CEO was the iPhone 4S in 2011. I remember that phone very well. I had it, and he had overseen the development of the device, but was the first iPhone that had launched under him. So yeah, I think Tim Cook has done a mighty fine job. I'm a stockholder. I think I'm pretty happy. I think many stockholders are, not just me. What do you think, Holden?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Tim Cook is not just, kept Apple the way it is. I really think that Apple is better under his leadership than it was under Steve Jobs' leadership.
Okay. That's bold.
I know that's kind of a hot, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not a hot take or not, but I mean, the Apple keyboard issue aside, which is easily one of their biggest blunders, and AirPower, I don't really think it's as big of a deal as people make it out to be, but like their products are rock solid. They've handled so many transitions super well. From the most recent M chip transition was, I think, handled better than it was back in the Intel transition from PowerPC. Introducing new products like Apple Watch and seeing that evolve over time, and it's like the only smartwatch worth getting. Same with iPad, even though iPad wasn't entirely under Tim Cook. And then the whole move to iPhone 10 and that whole design, like super smooth and great. And just, I don't know, I think he's doing a killer job. And then obviously just the numbers themselves show that he's doing a great job.
I agree. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm imagining back when they swapped over that, Tim and Steve had a bunch of conversations of how he's going to be compared to Steve for the next, however many years. And, Tim Cook has to, that's psychological, and he has to deal with that every day. And, people do it. But, he's pushed forward. He doesn't back down. He does what he needs to do. He seems like a good leader. I hear he can get tough when he needs to get tough, but not Steve Jobs tough. But, he's also, I think he's more of a humanitarian than Steve Jobs is, as far as what's the word when millionaires give away their money? There's a word for that, but he's more philanthropic than Steve was. But he's a likable guy, and I think people will continue. Any company when people change CEOs, you're always going to compare one to the other, and that's part of it.
I think you bring up a good point with the philanthropy. I think Steve Jobs would have a very hard time navigating the waters of today. I think like Elon Musk kind of gets a lot of crap nowadays because he's a little too outspoken and speaks his mind too much. I think Steve Jobs would be in more trouble than Elon Musk is.
Yeah, I mean, especially if when Steve was hot, a lot of technology was new. Nowadays, he's not going to be as brilliant as he was back then because nobody will, because there's we're reaching a point where there's how many size screens can we have at this point? So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And let's see. Let's move on here. I wanted to talk about the Touch ID. This is Mac rumors. Touch ID not returning to iPhone 13 despite Apple testing under-screen sensor. Despite having tested and worked on the technology, Apple has decided not to include it in the under-screen Touch ID sensor in the upcoming iPhone 13, continuing to leave customers with Face ID as the only biometric authentication option for the iPhone. Apple had been testing this technology, which would allow the company to place sensor under the display on the iPhone, allowing users to simply just touch their finger on the display, authenticate, which I believe Android users have had that for a long time. And so I kind of wonder, are they scrapping it because they're just not satisfied with the technology yet? Because we know Apple is very they like perfection, want to make sure it works properly. What do you think, Holden? I think this is crazy.
Yeah, I just I thought about it quite a little bit. I think with the whole Android phones can do it, but I think it's refined to a certain square on the screen. And the rumors I'd heard for the past few years is that Apple wanted it to be across the entire display so that users don't have to think about where their thumb is. They can so maybe they're struggling with that, but obviously that's all speculation. I have no idea. I don't know if I really care or not, though. I love Face ID. I don't even think about it. And outside of masks, I don't see a reason really to bring it back. Although I did think that maybe they would put it into the Siri button, because that's what they did with the iPad. Is iPad Air is put Touch ID there, but I guess they're not going for that.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, that was elegant. I mean, I think that would still be an elegant solution too to that. And I'm surprised they, well, we don't know. Maybe they will. So, this is just rumors. But yeah, I mean, with the mask thing, I was hoping that we would be past it, but maybe we're not. So we might need another year of this. The one thing I will say is the new Samsung foldable phone. A couple of reviews came out, and there's a camera in the glass display, which we have the notch, and that's how they got rid of it. So the reviews are pretty bad from what I understand. It's it actually affects the quality of the screen. You could almost see the square where it is. So my guess is Apple is probably seeing the same kind of things. When you put something underneath the display, it actually affects the display of what you're seeing on it. So it's probably not perfected yet. And again, if they threw the iPhone in with Face ID and Touch ID on the side, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think so. I was having a bit of discussion about this with somebody that has an Android, and it's like, God, I would switch to the iPhone in a minute if I was able to do what I can do on my Android, just to touch it on the screen. And I said, that's holding you up? Okay.
Well, of all the features, that's interesting. That's really, the one.
Yeah. I mean, but then he made the comment that everybody I see has iPhones. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because that's true. I mean, I think all of us probably always notice whether someone has an iPhone or an Android, and that's a whole other debate. We know how.
I think
Android
iPhone
is.
Users might notice more than anyone else.
Yeah, we do.
The blue bubbles.
Especially the text with if someone's getting a green bubble. So, well, it'd be interesting to see where this goes. Definitely.
Not 3 weeks, right?
No, it's not going to be coming to the iPhone 13, according to those rumors. The story is in 9to5 Mac. The new Pegasus zero-click iPhone attack defeats Apple's blast door protections. Newly discovered, this was in 9to5 Mac. This was just published a couple days ago here as we record. A newly discovered NSO and Pegasus zero-click iPhone attack against a human rights activist managed to succeed despite Apple's blast door protections, according to a security researcher at the Citizens Lab. It is unclear, however, whether the protections Apple added to iOS 14.7.1 would have succeeded to block the attack, as it took place at the time he still had 14.6. So, this is going through the whole thing. And we've had this debate before about this 0 click Pegasus attack, and is it protecting it? And it just seems far fetched that this is really is this really a story? I mean, is it still happening? What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, I think this just came out yesterday, so I didn't really dig into it. But, again, it's basically, scientists discover this kind of thing and researchers, blah, blah, blah. And until, my friend Dave from, across the street gets it on his phone, I'm not going to worry about it because it's just basically making a news story at this point.
Yeah, that's my kind of thought, too. What do you think, Holden? I completely agree with Warren. I mean, I think there's this misconception of security that iPhones are very secure. It doesn't mean they're impenetrable. It just means that they are constantly updating security, constantly making it better. Just update your phone and you're going to be fine. There's really not much to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't worry about it. That's all I have to say. Next story, also 9 to 5 Mac analysts. Google to pay Apple $15 billion with a B to remain default Safari search engine in 2021. It's been long known that Google has been paying Apple a hefty sum every year to ensure that it remains the default search engine on the iPhone, the iPad, and the Mac. Now, a new report from analysts suggests that the payment from Google to Apple may reach $15 billion in 2021, up from $10 billion in 2020. Investor noted that analysts are estimating that Google payments to Apple will increase to $15 billion in 2022 and between $18 and $20 billion in 2021, now 2022, based on public filings, of course, because they have disclosures because they're both publicly traded companies. So looks like Google's here to stay on an Apple device, don't you think, Holden?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is an astronomical number. This is insane. This is in the ballpark of what Apple makes off of the App Store through the 30% cut. It's in that ballpark. That's nuts. But to Google, though, they make that it's worth it for them because how much money do they make? And they also get data on iPhone users, which is probably one of the most valuable customers in America right now.
Yeah.
So it's worth it for them, but it's a lot of money.
Good point. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, no. I mean, until somebody comes up with a better search engine, then that's going to be it, and Apple knows that. So, like them or hate them, their searches work, and Apple, I'm sure would love to not have to pay that money if they had another way to do it. But Google is Google.
No, but Apple's not paying it. Google's paying Apple.
Right. I'm sure Google would like to not pay Apple.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to correct you, but I think I don't want everybody to get confused there.
That's right. All right. So Apple. No.
Sorry, that was
dinner time. Save my dinner time. No. No. I read it backwards. So because that would actually make sense too for Apple to pay Google to be the search engine for them too. I can see it both ways actually, but either way, it's it's the best search engine, so that's what Apple's using, and that's what Google's happy to give them.
And there was some far-fetched thing that someone was saying. Why wouldn't Apple decide to do their own search engine? Dive into that. I know there's been chatter about that. I don't know. That's a lot of work. I don't know if Apple's got the resources or want to put the resources into doing something like that. I wouldn't think.
They're doing so much with machine learning nowadays that maybe they're working towards this. They've been prioritizing search a little bit more in iOS. It's maybe, but it'd be a really big investment for them. But I do think that it could be a big privacy move for them. Don't you want to use a search engine that keeps your information private but has really good search algorithms? I use DuckDuckGo. I love DuckDuckGo, but it is not as good as Google's search algorithm. It's just not. I take that sacrifice and use DuckDuckGo because I like not using Google as much as possible.
Absolutely. All right, then the last story this week, AirTag gets a new firmware upgrade or update. New AirTag firmware version 1.0.291 is rolling out to users with no known feature changes or updates. Boy, it sounds like the Apple TV. Unlike other device operating systems, the AirTag does not have an update menu to control incoming updates. Instead, the user must wait for the update to install automatically. This was reported by 9to5Mac and people, and then of course those sharp people out there that see these things find this out, and you just go in the Find My app and you can actually see what the firmware version is. I don't think anybody's going to really care much because it's still going to function the way it's supposed to. Don't you think, Holden?
Yeah, I would never even think about updating my AirTags. I would never even cross my mind.
Yeah, just like the AirPods Pro. I mean, they get firmware upgrades all the time, and they're in beta too. Which was one of the few things that Warren would ever touch in beta would be AirPods Pro. So, I'm sure you agree, Warren. This is no one really cares.
Yeah. You don't know how to update it. You don't know what the update does. With Apple's headlines recently, I'm sure it's doing something scary and nefarious. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would go throw them out and burn your AirTags right now because they're following you. I'm sure
we're doomed.
We're doomed.
All right, off to the topics this week, as we always talk about each week. Beta, iOS 15, iPadOS 15, Beta 7 just came out I think a day or two ago, and they seeded the 7th beta to developers. I believe it's out. The public beta is now out. Yeah, this was actually yesterday as we record this, and it looks like nothing really a big change. Warren, you notice anything since you updated since the 6th beta?
This week in Salesforce is a good week. The updates. Yep, this week Salesforce is working on the beta, so it's a constant battle between the test flight Salesforce app and the beta, whether the Salesforce app works on it. Everything else works. It's always worked. I've just had throughout the entire beta cycle, I've had 1 or 2 apps that don't work, and Salesforce has been one of them. So,
okay. Holden, I think you're on beta. Would you notice anything?
Yeah, I'm on beta for all my devices except my Mac. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. For me, it's been pretty stable since the beginning. I haven't really had any issues. So I update just because I know it's going to be better than the last version. It rarely gets worse. So yeah, it's still good, still consistent. Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was much in the notes to saying what changed. I don't see too many things other than we know SharePlay is disabled still.
The big thing is the Mac OS hasn't been updated in 2 weeks. This week was supposed to be it. And I'm going to say that for an iOS show because universal support is still, MIA. So, I'm assuming, this beta could have the universal control in it in the iPad OS and the iOS. We'll find out when the Mac OS gets its next beta. Right.
But I think SharePlay is going to be after the release.
That doesn't bother me at all. The universal access bothers me.
Yeah. As long as SharePlay is available before Foundation comes out, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. But yeah, universal control, I'll be severely bummed if that gets delayed. That's going to completely change my workflow. I can't wait to get that.
It's the only reason I bought a new iPad. Just play with that.
It's worth it. If it works as well as they say, it's totally worth it.
I'm hoping just to have the other screen and be able to drag back and forth on the iOS.
Absolutely.
That's just, looking forward to that.
My iPad will be a note-taking devace. It's
that's what it's supposed to be.
Same keyboard. Just amazing.
Quick notes.
Yep.
The WatchOS 8 came out. Do you update your watch, Holden, to the beta?
Oh, I had to because I love focus mode so much. But if you have your watch on iOS 7 or WatchOS 7 and everything else on beta, focus modes hardly work because it just the watch basically forces them all to go into do not disturb, regardless of whatever focus you're in. Because that's the only focus that the watch has. It was a mess, so I had to update to it. I was worried because I've never done beta on my watch, and you can't go backwards.
Can't go back. Great. Yeah, that's why I always tease Warren. He always goes. He does it right away, and you can't go back.
I ripped the Band-Aid off the first day. Well, one beta cycle, I forgot what watch it was. I had to go back to Apple, and they had to replace my watch because it was unusable with the beta. But they did, and nobody made a big deal over it. But ever since that, it's been pretty good. So,
But focus mode. That's a big thing. tvOS, as always, never anything exciting in there. I never see them announce anything other than it's just the bug fixes. Of course, SharePlay again won't work. Siri commands can use to launch the Apple TV Plus shows. I believe that. I think that's new, actually. I don't remember that doing that. But one tip with the tvOS, I completely didn't realize it. You can do "Hey S lady, where's my iPhone?" and it actually enables it. I tried it. It's like, holy cow,
that's cool.
This works. I didn't know that.
Just in the beta or in general?
In general, yeah. I was on tvOS 14. You can go to Siri and say, "Hey S lady," and where's my iPhone? And all of a sudden, Find My starts pinging it, and I think it does it with the iPad as well.
Oh, that's cool. The big news with the Apple TV usually is not what Apple updates, is basically the news, like the Netflix getting spatial audio and Hulu getting 4K, which is the last two big stories for Apple TV on the Apple TV app. So even though they're not doing much with it, other streaming services are, which is good for the platform.
And we're talking about tvOS. I just on Hulu. You just mentioned Hulu. I watched the series McCartney 3-2-1. You got to watch it. Freaking amazing. I mean, if you're a Beatles fan, my gosh, he's being interviewed by Rick Rubin. It cracks me up. Guy's got the big giant beard, and he's barefoot the whole time in the show. They're sitting across from each other. He crosses his legs. He's barefoot. But that guy's just one of the most renowned producers, and he's just love listening to McCartney's stories, and he remembers everything. He remembers what they did when they recorded that specific song. They're going with a mixer and hey, look at that sound and that sound. I want to go back and watch it again. It's so good. So there's a show tip right there. All right, and what do we have left in beta? Oh yes, what was new with HomeKit in iOS 15? Have you dabbled with this at all, Warren? I know the HomeKit has the secure video. I don't know too many people have that yet.
I haven't done anything with it. I mean, I haven't noticed anything different with it, to be honest with you. HomeKit. Yeah.
Looks like also it has it'll store secure video on your iCloud Plus. That's a Plus plan. Package detection, people bringing packages and delivering it, that lets you know. It's got a home key or home keys enabled, so unlocking doors with that. Time-based Siri commands can be put into if you want to enable stuff as far as it working. So yeah, looks like HomeKit's gonna have some good enhancements. I hope that looks cool. Other feature that did get enabled in beta, and you and I, Warren, were going back and forth about this because I'm still having trouble with it, is the iCloud Plus's new custom email domain feature, which is now available in beta. You can go into beta.icloud.com, and if you have a paid iCloud Plus storage plan, you can personalize your iCloud email with a custom domain name. And it's now in beta. So you go in and actually add the domain, add all your MX records, and so it's not for the lighthearted. You have to have a little bit of knowledge how things work on the web, but it seems to work for DNS. Yeah, sorry, thank you. Going into the DNS management in your domain registrar, or if you're web hosting, and it's supposed to work, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with my host, so I have to try to figure it out. But see, you were able to do it, right, Warren?
I did. Just to clarify, you don't need any of the iOS or betas for it, I don't think.
No, you don't.
So I don't know because I have the beta on it, but so I did have an initial problem with one of the C names. So what happens is when you go through it, it pretty much walks you through and then gives you a screen of what you need to change your DNS info to, and you log into your host that you pay for your domain, and you change it. And it's pretty much you pretty much have to remove the old stuff that went to the old host and put in new stuff. But I got it to work, and then after that, it takes a little bit of time. Funny story, actually. So. After I was finished, it kind of says, "Congratulations, it's all working, it's all good." And then, but I kept sending myself a test email from one email address to my new iCloud address, and nothing. So nothing. I'm like, what am I waiting for? And I keep checking everything looks good. Junk mail. Everything was my emails from myself to myself was going to my junk mail for like the night. So finally, I'm like, what is going on? So I looked into my junk mail and I saw it all going in. And then once I decided that wasn't junk, I moved it to the inbox or whatever. All of a sudden, my send to address showed up on my iPhone. If I go onto my iPhone and say from, you could change it to the new custom domain and send it as that. So it's techie. So
yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit of work. It's not for the lighthearted. Did you try Holden yet, or do you have a domain you play with?
I wanted one, and it turns out my dad wants the same one as me. But he can't get it because some guy in the Czech Republic already has it or something like that. So we're out of luck. I don't need it, but it would
pay up.
Yep.
Yeah, you could have this domain for $4,000.
I tried to sell mine. You could offer it up on the website, GoDaddy. There's a thing where a marketplace where you could actually offer up your domain and see if anybody wants to buy it for you, and they give you offers for it. I think I listed it low, and even low, nobody wants it, so I'm stuck with it.
And don't confuse this with hide my mail, because that's used for so when you send out email, that allows you to create unique random email addresses when you forward. That's forwarded to your personal mailbox, so without having to share your real email address. So that's another feature that Apple's also adding as part of the iCloud Plus, which is cool. I
just want to have one thing to that real fast too.
Yeah, please.
Something really cool with that too on the beta. When you do that, if you go into, and I just discovered this the other day, if you go into settings, and then I think it was under iCloud, and then under iCloud again, if you go to hide my email, there's an option for hide my email. It tells you all the sites that you've used to create a hidden email, and it tells you what that actual email address is, if you want to look at through it. So it's actually really neat to kind of still list of what the ones you've started to do.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so you can create a new domain. That's awesome, and be able to add it. And actually, and you don't have to pay for email service if you don't want to. If you just register your domain with your domain registrar. Like I use hover.com, and if you didn't have it hosted at any website, you now can use Apple's iCloud servers to host your mail. It's pretty cool. So, all right, let's move on to another topic here. The YouTube Premium. I find YouTube Premium to be well worth the $10 a month I pay for it, because I can't stand looking at all those freaking ads they have on there. And so anytime I go to a computer that's not signed into my account, it's like, oh my God, look at what I'm missing, these ridiculous ads. So YouTube Premium is nice to eliminate that, as well as it includes YouTube Music, so you have another music service that's added to it. So I find I like it. Not everybody feels to need to spend it, but it's understandable. But this has always been a complaint, and I know there were some workarounds about this. Is the fact that you want to have picture-in-picture when you're watching a YouTube video, and you want to be able to, just like you could do with any other video source on an iPhone, you can have it up on the screen, navigate to what you're looking for, and go back to your video. So if you didn't have the premium plan, you weren't able to do it, and I think you could still work around it, but it was kind of a cockeyed way of doing it. But now what they've done is the YouTube Premium subscribers can now actually enable it. And what you do is you just go into your YouTube settings, and there's just a enable picture in picture in iOS. So I thought this was kind of a cool thing that they had. I assume either one of you guys are YouTube Premium subscribers, right?
I'm checking the settings right now to enable that. Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, you are?
Totally
Okay. Yeah. So you agree with me. Good. If you go in there, you just go to youtube.com/new, scroll down, and it says picture in picture in iOS. Click try it out, because it's in their experimental features. But it's pretty slick.
Gotcha.
It actually has the videos. It gives you like a nice little full screen at the top of a home screen. And it should be rolling out. And in fact, they said Google that actually did say in June that they announced that the picture-in-picture support would be rolling out to both premium and non-paying YouTube app users. Yeah. But some people outside the U.S. have been able to get the experimental feature working, so it's going to be available. Looks like for everybody.
I think they said. I think it's like Apple won't let them charge money for that feature because it's supposed to be a system feature. So I think they can't hide it behind the paywall. I think that's why it's going to be free for everyone.
That'd be great. I definitely want to throw my phone when I'm trying to watch a video and I have to switch to a different app. It's not good.
Yeah.
So, so check it out. There's a link in the show notes for the article on Mac Rumors that talks about this. Next topic I want to talk about is the famous leaker Jon Prosser, always talking about rumors with Apple, and he tends to be spot on most of the time. Apple is apparently working on an update to Face ID to adapt to a world where face masks are present day in life, day-to-day life, according to a report from Jon Prosser. And he says that Apple is working on a prototype case that would enable Face ID to recognize users even with their masks on. And they said rather than update to the existing software, the report notes that Apple's workaround happens to be a prototype case. The case wraps around the iPhone 12 and has an extra sensor array that sits above the device. Like, I want a case that has that. So, yeah, and you should look at this picture that's I have a link in the show notes here. It's like, oh my God, do I really want that on my phone? So they're obviously doing some sort of testing to see what can be done. And the reason why I brought this up because we had a listener that was asking about how do you actually enable an iPhone to open with a mask on the real way, and I was talking to her and she had said, yeah, I can never get my iPhone to work with a mask on because we're and she's always wearing a mask. She had said, and then of course, I've got you can unlock it by turning it on, but you have to have an Apple Watch in order to do this. And I've got a link here in the show notes to the support article from Apple on how to do it, because people tend to forget that not only do you have to have the Face ID and passcode go in there and turn your Apple Watch on, you actually have to enable your Apple Watch in order to do it. So something to check out to see if you're not sure how to do it. I'm assuming both you guys have had that enabled, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it only works though for unlocking your phone. Like if you wanted to do Apple Pay or something like that from your phone, you still have to type in your passcode.
Yeah.
Right.
Which makes sense from a security standpoint.
But if you use if you have your watch with you can use your watch. Which
I generally do anyway. But I know so many people who haven't activated Apple Pay on their watch, and they're amazed to find out you can do it. It's so nice to have. Yeah.
I love it. My wife.
It's one of my main purposes of having an Apple Watch.
Yep. I remember last time I've used cash.
I'll tell you one thing: if Apple could get that case working, if it could work with my CPAP mask, and I'm not being facetious, I'm being totally 100% serious.
I will buy that.
Yeah, because that is a big thing. When it's a CPAP mask, I'm laying in bed, I'm trying to unlock my phone, and then it doesn't work. So, So I mean,
I have the nostril mask. I don't have the full mask, so it actually sometimes works for me.
Oh no, I have the nostril mask too. It never works.
Oh, you do? With the rubber.
Same one.
It's especially frustrating when you're.
Right, it doesn't work for me either.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But
I was going to say, it's especially frustrating because you're used to not having to type in your passcode. Like Face ID, I don't think about a passcode at all. So it's like being reminded of this really archaic thing from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's frustrating, especially at night in bed. That would annoy me.
It's bad. It's bad.
So if you're unsure how to do it, if you haven't set it up, if you haven't, you're crazy. You need to have it set up. We've got a link in the show notes how the real way of doing that is. Next topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about iOS permissions. Those were added in iOS 14.5, and of course we, with the allow app to track and the permissions and all that. And what are the iOS permissions that you want to know and want to see if do you really need to have them turned on or not? Well, it was interesting. Jamf, if anybody's not familiar with Jamf, which is a mobile device management software that's very popular in the enterprise. They published a report on the most common types of permissions that any of the popular iOS apps in the App Store, and its recommendations on which ones to avoid. This was in the Apple Insider is the article, but there's a published report. If you actually click the published report, it brings you into a Jamf blog that they just published today as we record this. And they've gone through some analysis of some of the top 4 permissions that app requests are, which include things like photos, camera, location, and microphone. And why do these apps need this? And you want to, and it gives you a list here of what app permissions to avoid, and you can download this now. Actually, it's gonna go be having a more in-depth look at these permissions. I think this is a really great guide and information about permissions. What do you think, Holden? I think this is really cool.
Yeah, I went through the list. There's a lot of things I didn't know about, like what is encrypted versus what's not encrypted. That was pretty surprising because you kind of get this idea that everything's encrypted on a device, but it's actually not true. Like the device is encrypted, but not all the content, especially if it's an iCloud. I thought that was kind of interesting. But with permissions, look, I turn most things off. Most apps don't need my contacts. Most apps, I don't need them to have access to my photos. Location will only do if it's like movie ticket app. All right, well, I'd rather just not have to have my zip code every time. I'm fine with that. Or a Maps application. Like then I'll do it. But other than that, I don't need to support my local social media companies. They'll be fine.
No. I whenever you get the prompt of what do you want it to be tracked or not, a lot of times I just say no. But I know, Warren, you feel otherwise with some of those settings, right?
Probably the wrong person to ask. Yeah, I allow whatever. I figure whatever it thinks it needs, it probably does. Apple vets the store pretty well. The only things I get a little concerned about is sometimes I'll be like, in the middle of nowhere and something will pop up and says, the doggy poop app has been requesting your location tried to get your location for the last for a while. Do you want to allow it? And I have to think about that. Why that might want that, but other than that, I allow pretty much everything, and so far I'm still here and fine. So.
And no men in suits have come to your house and taken you.
Okay, maybe they'll take me someplace better. So that you never know. You never know.
But check out this white. It's a white paper. You have to fill out some information, and you have to be working for a company. But there's of course ways around that. I don't have to tell you what to do to get that information. Check that out. I think it's a great little guide here. I hadn't really looked at it really closely here, but they have. Yeah, it's a 7-page paper and just gives you some analysis of iOS app permissions. So I think it's pretty cool.
Does real fast? I don't think there is, but is there anywhere on iOS that tells you what apps you're using, what permissions, like in a nice list, like that are installed on your phone?
I haven't seen anything. I don't know if you have.
No.
I know in the App Store they have the privacy labels, but I think there might be. Let me see. I don't know why there should be if there's not.
There should be. I think that's a national. I thought actually even Android has something like that on there. Like there's actually a thing that's
Google would put that in there.
Well, yeah, but I think there's a national screen and settings that lists all the apps and it tells you kind of what kind of access it requests from there. So. That might be iOS 13. Let's see. Or 15.
I don't know if this is an iOS 15 thing or not, but when I went to privacy, the very, very bottom, like underneath, all the options, there's record app activity, and you can say save app activity, and it will let you know in the past 7 days what apps have taken what information.
Yeah,
that's good.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So check it out. I think it's well worth the investment to have a better understanding of this. So let's talk a little bit of tips here. I was always curious to know how to reset AirPods or the AirPods Pro or even the AirPods Max and how you do it. Usually the way you do it is that the first thing you do is you want to check your battery. If you go to the back of the AirPods by holding the AirPods case and hold the button on the back, you don't see a light flashing on the inside of the case. It's probably because it's dead. Then you should plug them in, make sure it's adequately charged and to be able to repair it to your device. But like I said, find that button on the back of the case. It's that small button. and you got to hold that thing down for 15 seconds. The LED light on the case will change from white to amber. You can't hold it down for too long, so there's no reason to be worried about that if you have any problems with that. And then, of course, you want to hold that reset button away from your iPhone, so you're not going to. So if you're trying to unpair it from the true wireless earbuds, if it's too close, it will just pull in all the same data as before. So, and then once it's reset, simple, just go in, pair them with your device. And cool thing is with an iPhone, all you have to do is flip the lid open and it automatically will see it and want to let you sync it. Because sometimes, and this might even be a good option for you, Warren, and we're always having trouble with your AirPods. You might want to reset these things.
Well, I got news for you. I think I did trying to get them connected to my laptop, and I'm totally serious. Because I tried to connect it to this laptop, and I think I held the button down for too long because when I opened up the case, my iPhone said, "Hey, new AirPods." So
yep, there you go. See,
this
is a good tip
because you did it. I did it already. Let's see how it goes.
And Holden, you got the AirPods Pro. I'm sure you're liking them. I love these. I mean, I've been so happy that I use this for all my podcasts, and when I want to listen to something that I use that, if I really want to get immersed in the sound, I use my Bose, my QC. I still have the QC35s. If I really want to get immersed in my headphone sound, but I use these AirPods Pro a lot, and I've got AirPods, the old ones, and I've talked about that before. The battery swapping service. I actually had my first gen. They swapped the battery for I think $60, and now I have a backup pair because the first gen, of course, the batteries were shot. So that company actually swaps and gives you cleansed new AirPods that go into your case, no problem. So
it's the case and the AirPods themselves they replace the batteries on?
No, they replace just the air. They refurbish the AirPods themselves, not the case. It doesn't do the case. The case you have to buy separate, but it actually they already take care of replacing the batteries, but they give you a brand new set. You send them the old set, and they'll send you a new set.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a good
I think
deal.
it's called Pod Swap. We highlight that, and they actually got mentioned on our website that we talked about them too. So, that's the only thing you probably would see. And of course, the first gen AirPods, you knew the batteries would be starting to start dwindling after a few years. So check that out. That just be aware of that. Like Warren just learned, don't hold it too long, or else it's going to reset. Right.
Okay. But it's really easy to repair them. It kind of just walks you right through it. So that's the good news of all this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And other tip here is the Apple Watch. How do you update the Apple Watch? I always have a challenge when it comes to updating the Apple Watch, and the way everybody goes into doing it is you actually go into the Apple Watch app on your iPhone and you check for an update, right? And then if it shows up in there, then you have to download the app, and it will go in and download the app. It downloads the update when it's ready to be updated, and then once it's in there, it's supposed to download it into the app on the iPhone, and then eventually say connect your Apple Watch to the charger, because of course the Apple Watch has to be charging right on the charger in order for it to actually send it to the watch in order for it to update it. So that's usually the easy process when it comes to updating your Apple Watch. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it just takes absolutely forever to update when it comes to. And you'd think they'd have a more efficient way of doing it, but just everybody to be aware that is normal, that you experience that. I'm sure you have experienced that, Holden, right?
Oh yeah, all Apple devices, preparing to update is the longest part of the update. It's always preparing to update. It takes forever.
You could also,
at least for me, that's my experience.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's it.
No, you could also do the update right from the watch, though. They changed that in the last WatchOS. So you can go into settings on the watch itself and channel and software update, and it'll do it as well. And I'm not sure. I think all it's doing is mirroring what's on the phone. It's not actually doing anything different than just controlling what you would do on a phone. But And usually it's a problem too because when you update your watch, you're updating your phone because they usually come out at the same time. So you got to do the phone first and then the watch. So what I could tell you is Series 0. When I had to update that thing, I could go to like California and back.
That was horrible.
It was bad. The Series 6, it's not so bad. Once you get it connected to a charger, it takes 20 minutes, I think.
What annoys me with the Apple Watch updates is that, and this is probably just because I have an irregular charging pattern, I guess, but every time I look at my watch after charging, it says unable to update to next WatchOS update or whatever, and I always have to do it manually. It has never done it automatically for me, ever.
None of my things do. I have everything set to like automatic update, and it doesn't. So which is fine. But no, even like the App Store. I have my apps to automatically update on the App Store on iPad and on iPhone. Never does. You always have to scroll down and see the update. So yeah, it's just one of the things, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It could be painful sometimes here. Other tip here, scanning directly to your Mac with an iPhone or an iPad. We have an article here on Club Mac Stories here that has a discussion how the best hidden feature is to be able to scan directly into Finder using your iPhone or your iPad. The feature is hidden actually behind a 3-dot button in the Finder's toolbar, and many people don't use it very often. Have you guys tried this at all? Scanning
I didn't
directly?
even know this was a thing. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. I wasn't aware either. I thought this was pretty cool that you can, near the bottom of the menu that drops down in the Finder's 3-dot, there's an import from iPhone or iPad command. And if you can go in and actually, whatever you've taken a picture of, it'll automatically import it and turn it into a PDF right away through on your Mac.
That is, I just did it. That's really fast too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Federico and John Voorhees they have some great write-ups, and if you aren't a member of Club Mac Stories, worth it to be able to get access to some of the great stuff that they talk about. But this was definitely I thought it was a cool tip to check out, and a quick way to get something scanned right to your Mac. So, all right. Well, with that, do you guys have anything else you had on your minds before we wrap things up here?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think it covers all of it.
Yeah, well, I think we covered a good amount this week. Let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/DaveG65. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Holden, thanks for being here again. We always enjoy having you on the show. Where can we find you?
Thanks for having me again. I am on the Networked Down podcast, which is another Apple podcast. We've been talking a lot about just big breakdowns of specific iOS 15 features. So we have a big one on focus modes is I think our most recent one. And then notes as well. We have a big one on notes now too. And I'm also at Twitter @Holden DePardo.
Oh, so you guys did an actual thing on notes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did a big breakdown on notes.
Great. We'll make sure we get that link in the show notes to make sure everybody take a listen to that, because always something to learn about with notes. That's for sure.
It's a surprisingly good application for what it
sure
is.
I
does a lot.
use it all the time. Yeah. Great. Good stuff. We'll make sure we get that in the show notes so that get people to take a listen.
Yeah,
and,
I'll send it to you.
Appreciate it. And then Warren, what's been going on in Mac to the Future? Anything exciting?
Well, it's been quiet. People are hot and tired right now. So
Hot and bothered?
Hot and bothered. Yeah, everybody's hot and bothered and hot and quiet. So I think everybody's just waiting for September to happen, and we'll go from there. So, but yeah, come over and talk about anything that's kind of relevant to technology. Doesn't have to be specifically Apple. So it's all good there. Holden, thanks for coming. It's always good to. I missed you. It's been a while. Yeah,
It's been a while. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, last time I think you weren't on the show here, so it's always good to get you on. We'll have you back again, and
Absolutely.
always happy to have you here, and get better soon, Brian. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk again soon.